Alrighty, y'all. Hello. Now I'm diving down into this kind of language rabbit hole. I think this was, gonna come eventually on this channel. It just almost had to. I'm definitely becoming way more interested in it with some of the recent videos I've done on this subject. And we've seen maps that support this. We've seen, statistics. Typically, from an American perspective, I see that most people in really any European country tend to, based on a lot of factors, they tend to know, usually a couple languages, sometimes 3 or 4, on a pretty normal occurrence, right? Basically, a lot of people know, some different languages, and that's a lot more rare here in the U.S. You get shocking reactions or, high regards if you know 3 or 4 languages here in the U.S. As always, there's some people that don't know many languages in any country, and there's some people that know, only one language here in the U.S. That seems to be the norm, or maybe there's some people that know 8 languages. I don't know. There's always going to be extremes everywhere. But the way I see it here, you have to know English, obviously, and, you're a step ahead if you know English and Spanish, because Spanish is pretty relevant in certain areas within the U.S., especially some areas I've lived down near, of course, the border of Mexico. But I really wish it was something more ingrained here from an early age through education, that you would be kind of incentivized to learn a couple languages early. It's just not really a thing here. So we're going to take a look at some street interviews from a couple different countries in Europe, and then some street interviews here on the streets in somewhere in the U.S., and we'll see if there's a difference in what languages they know and how many. And of course, these are random and handpicked by whoever made the videos. But regardless, it's a peek into language culture, and if I was betting on this, my money would be on these Europeans to know more languages per capita than the Americans. But we'll see. These videos will all be linked down below. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. Here we go.
The question is, how many languages do you speak?
4.
What are the 4?
Wow.
Dutch, English, Spanish, and German.
Amazing. Have a great day, man.
Yeah, you too.
Love it. This first video, I believe most of these will be filmed in Amsterdam. That guy's cool as hell. Rides off. He's got his, what seems to be a guitar, got his bicycle, and he knows 4 languages, just casually, right?
2.
What are the 2?
Okay.
English and Cantonese.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Are you from Amsterdam?
Yes, born and raised.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak 2 fluently, and I speak 4 that I can make myself understood.
Well,
that's
since
pretty
you are a
good.
native, can I ask, why does everyone in Amsterdam speak such good English?
I think because as we were a child, they didn't dub the movie, so even as a child, I would watch Cartoon Network in English and things like that. So TV and music remains in English.
Wow, this is really something fascinating that I sometimes fail to pick up in other videos, but now that I'm listening for it, she speaks really good English from my perspective. And what I mean by that is she speaks like English that I'm familiar with, right? Of course, there's a million different English accents from around the world. There's nothing wrong with any of them. But what I'm saying is she sounds almost like she's speaking American English. Like it's very similar to what I would hear anywhere around me. I find that very interesting. She doesn't sound British, obviously. Or, sometimes when I hear people from different European countries that do know English, they have, of course, an accent, which I always think is cool. But yeah, she speaks like really solid English from an American ear. It sounds like natural. Like
So
it
it's
sounds
like the original
familiar.
accent and everything.
Yeah, I guess so.
Huh. Interesting.
I speak more than English, actually. So.
Amazing. Where are you from?
They speak English? Okay. Oh, they're from Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And now you're just visiting
We
Amsterdam?
live in Germany, so.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
And the question is, how many languages do you speak?
I speak how many languages do I speak? Like 4 now.
Wow.
So
Holy
English,
smokes.
Shona is my mother tongue, German, and a little bit of Ndebele. Because my friend speaks Ndebele.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Their language is from Zimbabwe.
Wow. So what is that, 1 or 2 different languages from Zimbabwe or around there, plus German and English.
Your mother tongue is
Dang.
Shona.
Shona.
Yeah.
Could you tell me in Shona, what is something you like about Amsterdam?
Do farambanje. Go Amsterdam.
What's that mean?
Yeah, do farambanje.
And what's that mean?
I like the weed.
Oh. Okay, very honest, I like it. Would you like to answer?
Fair enough.
How many languages?
A lot. I speak Zulu, I speak Ndebele, I speak Xhosa, I speak
Wow.
Swati, I speak German, I speak English, and a little bit of Shona. So that's in total 7 languages.
Wow.
That's like...
Dude,
the
these
highest
videos, this is going to be fun, but this is honestly making me feel small, man. Like, dude, this is why I'm diving into this. I need to learn some languages, man. I'm getting a late start.
Question is, how many languages do you speak?
Yeah, I think I speak 3.5. I speak English, Spanish, Russian, and Belarusian in more passive one.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Now, wouldn't Russian and Belarusian be somewhat similar, right? I feel like if she knows Russian, that would be not terribly hard to learn. She also knows English and Spanish. Wow, that's a good range.
cool. What's your first language?
Russian.
Could you say in
Wow.
Russian, what is something you like about Amsterdam?
Амстердам очень красивый город, здесь много каналов, очень спокойная жизнь, очень красиво.
And are you from Amsterdam?
No, I'm from Berlin.
From where?
Berlin in Germany.
Ah, Berlin.
Oh, Berlin. I thought she said Burden. Berlin. Yeah, Germany. Okay.
Very cool. I'm gonna go there soon.
Ah,
So
nice.
she probably knows
For-
German,
for
right?
your project or
Yeah, I'm going to ask this question there, but also just because like I heard it's an amazing city and I want
Yeah, it
I want to
is,
spend
it is.
time in Berlin.
do it in summer.
Well, the question is, how many languages do you speak?
I speak 3 languages. Which
Wow.
Is,
What are they?
it's German, English, and French, but it's a little bit rustic. But
Could you tell me in
Wow, German, French, and English. Notice how everyone so far has known multiple languages. I mean, obviously, again, you know, we don't know if they interviewed people that only knew one and maybe chose not to feature them. I don't know. But, you know, I'm guessing most of these were like pretty accurate. It's just pretty crazy to me in a good way. I think it's awesome. I also think it's just obviously somewhat normalized in a lot of places throughout European countries that you just know 2 or 3 languages at least. And I think it's awesome. I think that's how it should be. At least it's something to aspire to from an American perspective.
What's your name?
Emilio.
Emilio. Mucho gusto. Emilio, how many languages? Oh, I'm Dan. Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
This guy's
I
cool.
speak Spanish, Dutch, of course, English, French, Italian, Portuguese. and
Wow.
7.
German.
Wow.
Incredible. But would you say you are fluent or so-so?
No, sometimes I have to think about it because when I'm not
Yeah,
really
that's understandable.
been in the country, for example in Germany for a long time,
Uh-huh.
I have to think about it and I have to but what I speak really fluent like English right now.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
have to think about it.
Yeah.
French I can do it also, Portuguese and Spanish
Wow. And Dutch?
That's just hella impressive.
and Dutch of course.
Wow.
All right, that first video, we only looked at a couple clips, so there's much more to that video. I encourage you to check it out, the link down there. It will be linked down below, as will the next two. This next one is, I believe, I don't know what city, but we are in Sweden for this one. So let's see a couple of these, and then we'll finish in the US.
Och du kommer från? Uppsala. Okej, ni besöker Stockholm. Är det morgontåg?
Sorry, hold on.
Okej, ni besöker Stockholm. Och du kommer från? Uppsala. Okej, ni besöker Stockholm. Är det morgontåg?
Uppsala, okay.
Nej, det hoppas jag inte.
Okay, they're speaking Swedish, I imagine, right?
Off topic. Hur många språk kan du?
Alltså, jag kan... Ska jag säga vilka språk det är? Ja, jag kan ju svenska, engelska och sen så förstår jag spanska och
Wow.
finska.
Hur kommer det sig att du kan finska och spanska då?
Mina föräldrar är ena från Finland och andra
Oh, wow.
från Chile.
Uppvuxen.
Interesting.
I Sverige.
Finns det något specifikt språk du vill lära dig?
Som jag vill lära mig.
Yes.
Italienska typ, det var nice.
Yeah, Italian would be cool.
Jag vet inte, det låter fint.
Hur många språk kan du?
Flytande 2.
Okej, vilka två?
Some
Svenska.
I'm noticing pretty much like an easy bet if you're in some European big city, right? They're gonna know at least two, and I think that's great, right? At least two is where I want to be, like fluently.
Några språk du kan så lite grann då?
Alltså, spanskan, den sitter väl inte som den gjorde en gång i tiden kanske.
And that's where I am. Like, I know I'm to the point, I don't know how you describe it. Like, I'm to the point where, like, if we're talking about words, like words on screen, and I haven't even learned from words on screen. I've learned it literally from hearing it for years and years. But I know, like, thousands of words in Spanish. Like, I can point to stuff and tell you what that is in Spanish. I just have to take the time to actually remember how to string them together for talking, right? It's frustrating. I need to just finish that so I can at least say I know two. Then I want to obviously start learning at least, you know, some basics of different European languages. I think that'd be awesome.
Och något specifikt språk du lär dig?
Kinesiska, mandarin.
Ooh, that sounds hard to me.
Varför det?
Jag tror på Kina alltså. Jag har respekt för dem. Jag tror att det är framtiden.
That sounds very intimidating. Mandarin, I've heard it's hard.
Och sen kan jag lite franska. Eller jag har gått i skolan. Så
wow.
Kan lite franska.
Okej, lite franska. Var kommer du ifrån?
Irak. Kurd. Född och uppvuxen i Västerort.
Hur många språk kan du?
Ja, så jag kan...
Wow.
Svenska, engelska, arabiska. Sen lite spanska och franska.
Dude, that's crazy, man.
Men de tänkte det är fler som talar arabiska. Så det är bättre.
5 languages.
Hur många språk kan du?
4.
Vilka då?
Svenska, engelska, tyska, franska.
Wow.
Hur kommer det sig att du kan tyska och franska?
Franska lärde mig i skolan och tyska, alltså jag är så halvtysk.
Halvtysk, halv...
Oh, half German and half Swedish. Okay, cool.
Språk du lär dig?
Typ såhär kinesiska kanske.
Another Chinese one.
Ja, känns så intressant typ.
Fair. I mean, if who am I to say? If they know 4, obviously they're a lot smarter than like they're bigger brain thinking than I'm capable of right now, right? So I'm trying to just still learn a second one, and she already knows 4, right? A lot of these people already know 3 or 4, and then they're saying they want to learn something hard like Chinese or Mandarin. But I guess that makes sense. I can't even think of that.
Jag kan faktiskt 5 språk. Jag kan thailändska, svenska, engelska, tyska och vad är det? Kambodjanska.
Dude, that's amazing. Seriously.
Okej, hur kommer det sig att du kan kambodjanska?
Jag har släkt där också.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Dude, that is so freaking cool, man. All right, that last one will be linked down below. We barely saw any of it, tons of it, you know, to explore. So make sure to check it out with the link down there. Finally, we'll look at just a little bit of this one as well. This is in the U.S. I don't know where, what city, or what state. Perhaps I will find out, or maybe I'll recognize somewhere. But either way, this is in the U.S.
Let's do it.
Let's see.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak English fluently and then Chinese at like a intermediate level.
Why did you study Chinese?
That's rare.
Mostly because I took it in high school and I wanted to continue because I liked it.
Cool.
I like learning another language.
I speak, I'll say 1 1/4.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
I think that's like, you have to understand, you know, I don't think all Americans only speak 1, by the way. I think this is the case for a lot of us. Like, a lot of us know, you know, usually English, right? And then we'll know like a good amount of a second language and maybe a good amount of a third one, but not fluent, not probably good enough to hold a long conversation. But people do learn a lot from different family members. Remember, it's a nation full of a lot of immigrants from years and years and decades, right? So like there are languages here. It's just nothing like when we do this whole America versus Europe thing, just like when we start comparing different countries like, you know, Germany or Netherlands or France or wherever, you know, versus US, it starts to really, the distance gets greater when it comes to stuff like this, like languages, because just so many people know so many languages over in European countries and probably in a lot of countries around the world, it sounds like. And we just seem to be more unique in the fact that we only know 1. I think, and this is just my opinion, if you like in the American workforce and, you know, traveling within at least North America, and of course even within states, I think I'm really surprised that we don't like emphasize Spanish more in school at a young age. I think it's important to know Spanish no matter who you are in the US. That's just my opinion. I think that puts you at an advantage. Knowing English and Spanish really fluently together is a great thing in the U.S., I feel like. I think it should be more important.
From Texas.
Yeah, especially if you're in Texas. I've lived on the Texas state line before. I've lived in New Mexico, and I also was literally 30 miles from Mexico, the country, and right on the state line of Texas. So I was always in New Mexico and Texas. And in New Mexico, there are straight up smaller towns that there's no English. There's like Spanish everywhere. Same with Texas. El Paso is an awesome city. Beautiful city skyline right against the mountains, and it is very bilingual. There is, like, of course, some English, but there are straight up tons of different signs and businesses and neighborhoods that's all Spanish. All the words on the buildings and everything is in Spanish. So you have to know a little bit, in my opinion, if you live there, and we used to. So I think that'd be a start with the U.S. to know a little more like Spanish at least, and then. I don't know if we could ever get to the whole, like, knowing 4 or 5 different languages like these people in Amsterdam know, but...
Languages would you guys say that you speak?
Just one. I mean, I learned Spanish in school, but I only speak English fluently.
Wonderful.
And see, like, hey, nothing against anyone in this video, but this is the norm. This is the norm here, right? Just one. I studied Spanish or French or whatever in school. By school, I mean high school. So, only grades, 9 through 12. And out of 9 through 12, a lot of kids actually only take that language for maybe 2 or 3 years. Some, not all of them even do all 4 years. And then, of course, do you retain that? A lot of people don't retain it. I took Spanish for, I think, can't remember if it was 3 or 4 years, but I didn't retain a lot until obviously later in life when it was more relevant to me. Obviously, my wife speaks Spanish and her whole family, so... now it's relevant to me again. But yeah, this is the story for a lot of people. They just know one, and
did you study
it is
Spanish
what it is,
I did, yeah. And what would you say the reason that it wasn't successful, that you didn't learn to speak Spanish even though you studied it?
I don't know. I just never really had the resources to continue. I think maybe because we start in high school, like most places start in high school, so like I think if I started earlier, like maybe I would have started.
She nailed it.
Well, if you guys could learn any...
That's exactly my opinion. If it started in 2nd grade or 3rd grade, I think that'd be better, right? I think it's easier to learn languages, I've heard, when you're young. I think if that would be awesome, right? I don't know if that'll ever happen here, though. All right, I'm going to cut it there. That was cool. Lots of cool people in these videos. I'm very impressed. I think it's inspiring as well. I think you could see the clear difference, and that was a small sample size from each place, but... generally, maybe I could do this someday. I always say that. I would love to do some videos like these in person, but I would really be curious, right? And of course, you do that over and over again, you're going to get different results. But this being, the most interesting and one of the biggest differences between, North America and Europe as continents. So, yeah, I always think this is interesting. I'm definitely down a language rabbit hole, and I'm loving it. It's something I think is just beautiful, learning and just hearing all different languages. I think it's really cool. Again, for fun, you want to tell me what languages you speak down below, please do so. More power to you for that. You got my respect. And thank you guys for bearing with me. I apologize if, I hope my voice sounds okay. I'm still getting better from, being sick. So, yeah, bear with me on that. Want to be doing more videos per day right now. But obviously it's a little difficult with everyone in the house being sick. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me and watching regardless of what I upload. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.